I've done lots of different modalities. I've done a lot of different things. Some of them have been really for my healing, or to be aware, and some of them have been really freaking weird, and some of them have been very conventional, and a lot of them have been with female energy. A lot of my teachers have been females. I was working with one time, and I'd heard this before. I've been a part of groups for a long time. You know, since I got out. Well, I was even part of a group before I stopped using. I was in a using group. I was in an addiction group, you know. So, but what come up for me was I'd heard people say, you know, boy, you have a lot of self-loathing, or you're really hard on yourself, or different kind of ways of bringing that up. And I was doing some work with a lady, and it just struck me. It was amazing. I heard it, and I was having a lot of discomfort and a lot of emotional pain, and I said something to the effect, why in the hell can't I love myself? And my teacher told me, David, your issue is not loving yourself. That's a natural flow of the universe. It's a natural occurrence. Your job is to stop hating yourself. And it just, that affected. So that just resonated with me big time for the first time. And I wish that within that split second that she said it and I walked out of her office, that it was done, you know, but it wasn't. It was just part of it, you know. And what I'm realizing is that I had adopted a certain identity created, some of it created out of survival, and some of it created by other people who were labeling me. And I, you know, was a little kid, and now started to study a little bit more about how the brain works, you know, from the ages of 0 to 6 or 7 years old. You're not a learning being. You're an absorber, or absorbing being, and you're taking in everything that's happening within the environment that you're in. And so it was easier for me to be hard on myself, and coming from a background where there was a lot of sarcasm, it was easier to be hard on myself first, because it seemed to not hurt as much as if it came from somewhere else, you know. So there was this whole thing about just not feeling whatever, because of my belief systems, and because of the perceptions that I had about those belief systems, that I wasn't good enough, and no matter what I did was never enough, and that kind of started with trying to keep my parents from fighting, you know. My role wasn't to run away. My role was to get in the middle of them and try to get them stopped, and they weren't. I drank and used drugs, and I did destructive behaviors just like they fought. You know, there was the pattern. They weren't done till they were done, and I wasn't done until I was done. And whether they were abusing each other, what I did is I just started to abuse myself. And another aspect of that is that, and one protection that I realized that I did create was to be a rager. I was a tantrum-throwing little kid. And the way that my mom cured me of that, so I would hit my head against, I guess, the crib or walls or something. Obviously, I don't remember that, but it was a very funny story around family gatherings. And my mom said that she grabbed me by the back of the head and slammed me on the floor or the wall or something like that, and she cured me. And so what I realized, what I did with that was I turned it in. It wasn't safe to rage anymore, so then I created depression. And I actually believe that I came in with depression, being that entity that came inside my mom and all the things she was dealing with. So the self-love thing has been probably one of my biggest challenges. And so what I've tried to do is not to take big pieces of this, because it's too much for me. So why don't I just consider just kind of liking myself, you know, and that is growing little by little, you know, and surrounding myself with people who support me in the growth that I'm making now, and not that I'm surrounding myself with people who are going to continue to remind me who I used to be. Because if I accept the fact that it's a good day to die, that person that I used to be is dead. It's gone, no longer exists. And by me talking about it and reminding myself of it, then I keep recreating it. And so self-love is about trying to stay in the moment and try to honor who I am right now. One of my major drugs of choice has been worry. You know, so I obsess a lot about things that I think are going to happen. And to learn to be in the moment. And to learn how to acknowledge that I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. And the human experience I've had up to this time, for me, as to my perception, has been very ugly. And very damaging and very destructive. And this is my perception. You know, my family members might have a completely different perception. I'm at a place right now where I don't care. I'm just accepting my perception. I don't have to defend it. I don't have to explain it. I don't have to explain to anybody how I'm learning how to love myself. Because it's real confusing to me. I don't always know how I'm doing it. I just know that I'm dedicated to doing it. And I hear friends of mine who talk about self-love all the time, and it still feels like a very foreign concept to me. But the fact that I'm here doing this, the fact that I'm surrounding myself with loving people like you guys, is proof of that. This is an expression of my self-love. You know, talking about this is an expression of my self-love. And I just discovered not too long ago, there are real minimal things that I use to express self-love. And one of them is cartoons. You know, I like watching cartoon movies, and I can laugh, and I can, you know, I never realized that that was an issue of self-love, but something that brings me joy. And so I like animated movies, and the relationship I'm in, she went to go to the Borders to buy the Christmas gifts for me, and the guy says, well, you know, wow, how old are the kids that you're buying this for? And she goes, 57. Oh, 5 and 7? No, 57. You know, but, you know, it's still a very foreign concept to me, but I'm very intrigued about wanting to know more and accept the fact. And science has kind of helped me with that, you know, to study and see how we're actually even here by the miracle of conception, and then to take that into the cosmos and realize that we're literally made out of stardust, and that we're infinite. We're all connected to all of that. When I say we, that's still out there. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working on it, you know. And so I don't know if that clarifies the question, but I'm a work in progress, and I don't really know if I trust anybody who would walk up to me and say that they're totally and completely in love with themselves. I have trouble with people that are happy all the time. I don't trust it, you know. But I'm a work in progress. I'm so far beyond where I was ever before in my entire life, but I'm not satisfied because I'm still pretty rough on myself, and I'm working on that. And you guys are a part of helping me through that.